Calypso's flying arm, a PBY refitted for diving operations, nears Isla Isabella, 21 miles off the western coast of Mexico, is said to be populated by enormous numbers of tropical seabirds of many different species.
And just like that, we had left the familiar shores of La Cruz, where we picked up our last crew member and had arrived to the wilderness that is Isla Isabella.
Whoa! Oh my God, Becca! So close! They both just did it again.
Really?
Like,
Wow. Oh my God, that's massive.
that's a big male.
This rugged outpost is a sanctuary for nature's most spectacular creations. Blue-footed boobies perform their mesmerising dance on the rocky outcrops. Brown pelicans dive with military precision into the churning waters. Frigate birds soar overhead while humpback whales breach out in the distance, their massive forms silhouetted against the horizon. It's immediately clear why this place is called the Galapagos of Mexico, an evolutionary playground untouched by time.
Woo! Woo!
I know. Before we explore, we just wanted to hop on here quickly and chat about something with you guys for a second. So as you all know, we are crossing from Mexico to Canada via the Clipper route in a couple of months' time. We're actually going the offshore route about 1,000 miles out west, and then we're going to go north towards Vancouver. We've both been looking forward to this passage for a really, really long time. It was kind of our motivation to get all those boat jobs done in Chiapas, and yeah, it's really given us that push. However, over the last little while, it slowly dawned on me that maybe I am not fit enough to do this passage. As you all know, last summer I dislocated my knee, and then I didn't share this back in January because it was a little bit of a rubbish time, but I tripped over a dock line in La Cruz Marina and my knee came out again, and I ended up having some treatment in Puerto Vallarta, and I just didn't feel like sharing that because it was a bit crap. But anyway, we've been toying with the idea of me doing the crossing for a while, and I think the realisation has hit recently that I am just not fit enough to do it. It's a bit of a tough pill to swallow. I think there is no room for emotion in this decision because on a boat, the crew have to be strong and fit, and there just can't be a liability on board, and I know for a fact I will be a liability, and it's a tough passage, and I've just got to make tough decisions in that respect.
Yeah, I think it's probably the right thing for you to do, but yeah, we will be looking for crew for this passage from Mexico all the way up to Canada. It'll be about 30 days or so. It's a pretty sizable trip. We're going to kind of skirt relatively close to Hawaii and then go up from there. But we're looking to leave early May to mid-May as kind of our like weather window opportunity.
We are looking for people with offshore experience, and it's going to be an amazing passage, I will just say. Doing the trip and then seeing the British Columbian mountains just appear from the horizon would be actually phenomenal. The boat is completely kitted out for this trip, and we've worked very hard for 3 years to get her to the point where she is at, so it'll be a comfortable trip. And
Hydrovane, pilot house, it'll be warm.
If you think you're a good fit for this role, drop us an email. Our email is in the description, or I'll put it on the screen, or drop us a message on Instagram just saying a bit about you, what sailing experience you've got, offshore experience, and why you think you'd be a good fit for the crew role. And yeah, I think that's about it. Enjoy the rest of the video. We have arrived to Isla Isabella, which is a little island just off the, well, I guess it's offshore off the coast of Mexico. We're about 15 miles offshore now, and honestly, this place is phenomenal. It's meant to be the Galapagos of Mexico, and I can see why, because just arriving by boat, there is thousands of birds all around. Like, look at this huge frigate go by. It's actually insane. You might have caught last week's video, which was our boat tour. If you haven't watched that one, go check that one out. That was actually anchored here. But now we can explore the island, and I mean, this feels like a true treat for a cruiser to be in a place as prehistoric feeling as this. So yeah, if you are all about adventure and sailing and exploring remote places, click like and click that subscribe button. It really means a lot to us. And let's go see this island. There's two trails. There's the frigate trail and there's the booby trail. The birds, may I just add. I know there's going to be a comment in there. But yeah, let's come along and let's see some birds.
And these along here are fishermen's huts and research stations, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, where have these guys come from?
I think these guys have come off this boat here from mainland.
Insane. Designated as a national park in 1980 and a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve since 2016, this pristine ecosystem spans 1.94 square miles and represents one of the most important breeding grounds for seabirds in the Mexican Pacific. The island hosts approximately 90,000 breeding pairs of birds annually, including the largest colony of magnificent frigate birds in Mexico with over 11,000 pairs. Its isolation has preserved a world where wildlife thrives as it has for millennia, with volcanic caves providing crucial nesting habitats for 9 species of seabirds that return year after year.
There's hundreds of frigates here.
These are like the biggest birds I've ever seen in my life, genuinely. It's amazing, but slightly awe-inspiring. These things have a massive wingspan.
They're big poetry birds.
They fly right by you.
They're not scared of people here, are they? It looks like there's a load of different chicks here, kind of at different ages. So there's some which are just sitting on nests with eggs, and then there's kind of more adult chicks like this one with it's kind of like down feathers a little bit, and then there's proper just balls of fluff as well. So it's a pretty cool thing to see. We've never seen frigates nest like this anywhere before. Well, we've seen frigates for the last 3 years, but wow.
We were searching for a trail at the end of the beach, which led us first behind some of these fishing huts. With no power or running water on the island, it did seem a pretty harsh landscape, but the harshest bit was still to come.
Like 20 just ran into that hut underneath.
I feel like we're in Jurassic Park, Zach. You find the porta potties.
And the rancid lake.
And the rancid lake. And then you head up these steps here. All the way up. Anyone need a wee? Oh.
It's kind of strange how green it is here, and we don't really know why. There's either a massive underwater spring here, or we think it's probably the dew off the air, because our boat was soaking wet this morning. There was big puddles on the deck where the dew had collected, so we think that's kind of what's keeping everything so green, and obviously all the bird shit as well.
Because there's no rain.
Because there's no rain here, because we're getting up to Sea Cortez now, and when we were in La Cruz, it rained once, or something like that, but yeah, up in the Sea Cortez, we've had friends who've been up there for multiple years and never seen rain. That looks like a lizard track.
One thing you've probably guessed by now is just how bad this island smells. I was woken up about 4 times in the night with a gust from land, bringing just the most awful smell. It's really, really strong ammonia, and it's almost sulphur-like. It really gets in your sinuses, and it just smells terrible. I know it's a sacrifice to make to be here, but you can't imagine the smell. We've seen some things about it before. No one's mentioned the smell, and I don't know how, because it's a lot. It's a lot. But we've just arrived at something called Largo Crater, but it's this huge... Is it fresh water? I asked Zach if it's fresh water and he said, I don't know, I'm not tasting it. It's fair, very fair.
Named Crater Lake, this hypersaline central lake formed roughly 3.5 million years ago. And standing on the shores, it was clear where the stink was coming from.
Anyone for an egg? It looks just like a chicken egg, honestly.
This trail is so close to the birds. They're just behind my head here. I'm like in the middle of the trail as far away as I can get from them, but they're right there and they're just staring at me.
From what we've read online, the hatchlings hatch around January, February, but it can change very slightly year by year, so people come here on their sailing boats to see the newly hatched chicks, and a lot of times miss it because it's quite hard to pinpoint when. And it's just hit me that we're here for that, and that's just really cool, you know.
Lucky.
Yeah, very lucky. And we were just talking about how surreal it feels to be here. It feels like these birds almost aren't real, like we're in some kind of exhibit in like a, I don't know, I was thinking like a VR headset or a video game. You know, you're looking around and all the birds, it's like, no, this is real life, and that's insane. And we sailed here, and yeah, crazy to feel kind of like intrepid explorers, because it really is an island like that.
We occasionally spotted a booby back in the Galapagos, but not this close or often by any means.
These are one of my favourite marine invertebrates. They're called chitin, but I just think they look really cool. But they're little, I think they've got a foot, so they're mollusks, I'm fairly sure. Back home, they're like that big and really small, but here they're huge.
We've come in today to see if we can just get to that tower behind us. I think it will give a really good view of the island, as I think it's the highest point. But as we were kind of coming through, we saw a lot of tents set up actually, which shows that people come from mainland across to camp, which must be kind of eerie. I guess it sounds kind of eerie, but then we're on a boat just like 50 meters out there. So I mean, eerie or, yeah. Cool though, really cool. I think it's a 2 or 3 hour panga trip from mainland here, but it's wicked that other people can come and experience it other than just cruisers. And I mean, you are literally camping amongst the birds. There definitely aren't many times you can be watching both a blue-footed booby and your sailing boat at the same time. But this was one of them, and boy, did we not want to leave that view.
Woo! It's a great view from up here. That was working very well.
Yeah, I was going to say, the solar panels can't be getting much solar.
That tower has been through some storms.
And some bird poo. This island's been really, really amazing so far. We really want to fly the drone, but we just can't because there's too many birds, and sure we could, but we don't want to disrupt any nature here. We just want to come and watch and be part of it. We don't want to stress any animals out, more than the one that's right here. But
especially as it's nesting season at the moment for all the birds here, it'd probably seem a bit unfair. And we already got dive bombed by some gulls on the other side of the island, so
it would be amazing to see from above, but honestly the nature is more important than us being able to document it. So every clip ever, it's just a kitten meowing in the background now. This is what our life has become. We hold you and you meow, and then we put you down there and you also meow. Anyway, we're looking into a weather window to leave here tomorrow to get to Mazatlan. It's due north and there's a lot of northerlies coming in at the moment, so our best hope is light wind, upwind. We've got about 15 knots upwind forecast, and actually hopefully we should be close hauled and it should be a nice sail. It might be a bit lighter than expected, but
I think especially when we get close to Mazatlan, it looks like it's going to get better.
Yeah, so we'll just have to see what happens. And Mazatlan sounds a really nice old city. We're going to go to just the town harbour, and we have to ask for permission to get in there, but we'll chat more about that tomorrow. But I think now, just to enjoy the rest of this beautiful island, we're going to go for a dive, check out some snorkeling spaces, and yeah, see some more underwater life, and also check on our anchor for the last time because we've heard so much sound coming from the bow where our chain is obviously getting caught around rocks again and all sorts. So one last dive on it this afternoon, and then we'll pick up about, I think, 2 AM.
Yay.
Yeah.
So it's the evening before we're actually going to leave Isla Isabella, and we've loved our time here. And we've wanted to, since we've got here, take a little dinghy trip around the whole of the island. And the island is less than its longest point, a mile. I think it's like 0.9 or maybe a bit over a mile if you include this spit of land here. But it's such a beautiful island, this place. Just the bird life and the wildlife here is just, it's one of the best places we've been with the boat for just nature, I guess. So
for sure.
Very lucky to be here.
Every day we wake up, eyes still closed, and no one knows the things behind our shut eyelids, or where any of it leads. I was blind and hoping, now my eyes are open. None of what I see makes sense. My mind's a fence, but I'm still seeing.
Thanks for stopping by this week. Isla Isabella has been a real treat, both above and below the water. Stay tuned for next Monday when we pick up hook and make the trip across the Sea of Cortez.
It's not good. We're sailing with the hydrovane
To a landscape which feels far too good to be true.